Thank you, Irani, for that introduction. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Daryl Wanyonyi from the TaroWorks Professional Services team, and today we are excited to show you what's new in our TaroWorks 7.3.1 release. And the agenda for today, we'll be looking at what's new in 7.3.1. We'll have a demo of new features and review the best upgrade practices whenever you are upgrading to this latest release. So what's new in 7.3.1? These are the features that we have packaged together in this new release, and they include automatically clear logs and backups, application locking via 4-digit PIN or fingerprint biometrics. We'll also be looking at translation in the drill down hierarchy and view data fields, supporting more than 30 characters on field in drill down hierarchy, warning when the form is updated by other users at the same time, and compatibility with the latest Salesforce API. That is the improvement we've made on TaroWorks. So to start, prior to TaroWorks 7.3.1, logs and backups would accrue on the mobile application until one of three things happen. Either the app is cleared or uninstalled from the mobile device, or another user logs in, and therefore that is this change of users on the mobile device, or if logs and backups are manually cleared. So to prevent that accumulation of data on the mobile device, we are now providing the mobile users with the option of automatically clearing the data without requiring internet connection. So what we've brought on this release is a few updates on the menu, where we've converted, we've changed the look and feel on the mobile device. And I'll just bring that to you. So you can see on the screen, that is the mobile device I'm using to show. So if we go to the settings, we'll go to the settings icon. So once we are in the settings, we will go to the logs menu, which is the first option at the top. So here we have done some improvements, which include changing the toggle icon, which initially it was a checkbox. So this is now a toggle icon for better user experience. So by default, this would be turned off when you sign into TaroWorks mobile app with 7.3.1. And then you'll be prompted to turn it on, and therefore you'll just tap on it and it will be turned on. We've also added descriptions in the menu options there, so that this gives the mobile user better explanation of what each menu does or represents. In addition, we've put together the clear logs and backups into one menu. Initially, these used to be in separate menus. So when that is tapped, then you'll have the option of clearing the logs and the backups all at once. That is if you prefer going with the manual way of clearing the logs and backups. A point to remember is, by default, backups will always be saved on the mobile device, unlike the logs, so that at any given moment, if there is any issue to do with the data that has been collected, then we will be able to recover the backups and be able to see what was stuck on the mobile device. So by default, backups will always be saved on the mobile device. Then at the very bottom, we have the auto clear logs and backups menu. So once you tap on that, we will be presented with another screen. And by default, the users, this option will be off. It will be none, so that the users can manually delete the logs and backups. If you decide, or the mobile user decides to clear these automatically, then they'll have the options of 3 months, 6 months, or after 12 months. So if they select 3 months or 6 months or 12 months and click on save, then the backups will be automatically deleted after that period of time has elapsed. So the benefits with these features is basically to enable the mobile devices to run faster and smoothly, to improve the productivity of the mobile users and reduce downtime while they are in the field. As we know, if the data is clogged on the mobile device, users will encounter various challenges, and those are the challenges we are trying to avoid. The process of clearing the logs and backups on the mobile device is in the background. So once you select the period of time to keep the logs and backups, or when you want them to be deleted, this will be running in the background without the user's action. So they'll just be running automatically in the background. And in the event that you want to clear the logs before the 3 months elapse, then the user will have the option of just doing it manually through the menu that we have there, clear logs and backups. So that menu is still available. The next feature that is coming in 7.3.1 is the application locking feature. So this will add additional security measures to prevent or to ensure that only authorized mobile users are accessing the TaroWorks mobile application and its data. We are avoiding a scenario where the device could get in the wrong hands. Maybe the device is lost and someone else gets the data to access the data that is on the app. So with these, we are introducing the 4-digit PIN and a fingerprint. So to enable this and set it up on the mobile device, I will go into a small demo here on the mobile device. So from your home screen, you'll go to the settings menu. And then from the settings menu, we've introduced the security menu. So once you tap on that, by default, the PIN and the fingerprint security features will be turned off. So you'll have to enable them. The mobile user will have to enable them before they start using them. The other point to note is for you to enable the fingerprint, first you'll need to enable it on the mobile device, enable biometrics on your mobile device. And this only works with devices with fingerprint readers. Once you've done that, you'll then need to enable the PIN, otherwise you'll not be able to turn it on. And just as an example, even if I tap it, it will ask me to set up the PIN first. So in this demo, I'll go ahead and set up the fingerprint on my mobile device. Once I've set up the fingerprint on the mobile device, I'll come back and set up the PIN and the fingerprint. So I'll go to the settings on my mobile device and go down to security, passwords and security. So fingerprint unlock is currently on. So I'll just turn this off. So with this turned off, If I come here and I try to turn on the fingerprint enabler, it will ask me for the 4-digit PIN, and even if I set up the 4-digit PIN, it will still tell me to turn on the biometrics on my mobile device. So let's just go back and set up the biometrics. Okay. Okay, sorry. So I will add fingerprint. So I'm just starting the process of registering my fingerprint. And this takes a while because it has to read your fingerprint. So once the fingerprint is done, we can now go back to our TaroWorks mobile app. And then we will go and set up the PIN. So once I tap on the PIN, I can now create my new PIN. Once I enter the PIN, I'll now get our back icon just below number 9 on the screen. So this only comes on once you've entered some characters in the above. If we didn't have anything, then that would disappear, as well as the button at the bottom, which is the next button. That one will come on the screen once you have the 4 digits, like that. So once you have the 4-digit PIN set, you go to the next screen to confirm. And let's say we enter the wrong PIN, you'll get a message that the PIN doesn't match, and therefore you'll have to enter the PIN that matches. So once you enter a PIN that matches, then the PIN will be enabled. At this point, the PIN is enabled, and therefore we can just go ahead and turn on the fingerprint. But before I turn on the fingerprint, now if we navigate away from the app and we come back to the app, you can see that we have the 4-digit PIN, and at the bottom below number 9, there's a blank space. So if we enter the PIN, the device will be unlocked. So let's go ahead and set up the fingerprint. Again, we go to the security menu and we turn on the fingerprint. As you turn on the fingerprint, you'll be required to enter the 4-digit PIN again to confirm. And once that is done, the fingerprint will be enabled. So if we navigate away from the app again, and we open the app, now we can see that we can either enter the 4-digit PIN, which will be indicated at the top, or we can use the fingerprint reader, which you tap on and you key in your fingerprint and the app will unlock. Right. So behind the 4-digit PIN and the fingerprint, there is also an added level of security. For example, if I navigate away from the app and I open the app and I enter the wrong 4-digit PIN, then we'll be given a message that the PIN was not correct. If we try that again, the PIN did not match. If we try that the 4th time, 4-digit PIN you entered did not match. And then, so that would be like the final warning. So if you do it again, you will be automatically locked out if you continue entering the wrong PIN. So at this point, I'll just enter the right PIN and it will unlock. Same thing if you enter you use the wrong fingerprint. So I'll select fingerprint. It will tell you that the fingerprint is not recognized. That is our second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt. Too many attempts. So you'll be informed that you've entered too many attempts, the wrong fingerprint. So that way you can't use your fingerprint again to unlock. So you can, at this point, you can now use the PIN if you know the PIN. If you don't know the PIN, then the application will remain locked and you'll not be able to proceed. In the event that you want to update the PIN, you will have to come to security and turn off the PIN. It will require you to enter the current PIN. So once it is turned off, when you enable it again, you can now enter a new PIN. So that way the new PIN is now set up. Another way of updating the fingerprint is if you wipe the data on your mobile device, that will erase the PIN and the fingerprint, and therefore you can set them up afresh. But the ideal scenario is you remember the PIN, then you set it up from there. For the fingerprint, if it is enabled and you want to change it, you'll have to turn it off. Once it is turned off, you also have to update the fingerprint reader on your mobile device through the settings. So you'll come to the mobile device, then remove your fingerprint, and then set it up afresh. So once you set it up afresh on the mobile device, it will just be a matter of turning it on and off from TaroWorks, from the TaroWorks mobile app. If you no longer need the PIN or the fingerprint, you'll just be required to enter the PIN, and once you disable the PIN, the fingerprint will be disabled automatically. If in the event that you sign out of the TaroWorks mobile app, when the PIN and the fingerprint are enabled, if you sign out and another user uses your mobile device, signs into the TaroWorks mobile app, then your fingerprint and your PIN will be erased. Automatically, the PIN and the fingerprint will also be turned off, and they will either choose to set them up or not set them up, do away with them and just leave the app open. The fingerprint and the PIN work on the mobile device, and the TaroWorks admin in the office or at the back end will not be able to manage that since it sits on the mobile device. So this is Salesforce independent. It's just on the mobile device. Everything will be done on the mobile device, and the admins will not have control of how it is set up. This added layer of security will protect unsynced jobs and ensure that the authorized users are able to access the information, and it's secured such that people who are not authorized can't access this information. Irani, before we go to the next section. I don't know if we have any questions.
Not for now. We can continue. Thank you, Darrell.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the next feature that is coming to 7.3.1 is the translation in fields that are in the drill down hierarchy and viewing data in the drill down hierarchies. So in the earlier versions of TaroWorks, the values in the fields in the drill down hierarchy only worked for one language at a time. Meaning if the pick list or multi-pick list values in Salesforce records are in English, then the values in the fields in the drill down hierarchy would be in English. If they were in French, then the values would be in French. So what is in Salesforce is what would be passed on to the mobile device. But in TaroWorks 7.3.1, mobile users who use other supported languages like French, Spanish, or Swahili will be able to see the values in the fields in the drill down hierarchy translated to their language, as long as the pick list and multi-pick list values have been translated in the translation workbench. And we are going to see an example where we have a mobile user who has been assigned a job, and this job is linked to contacts. And on the contact object, we have a pick list field to say whether their contact is active or no. So the values are yes and no in English. On the mobile user's user record, this user has been assigned the French language. So this user is French speaking and works using the French language on their mobile device. So the expectation is the values for the contacts, whether they are active or not, should read French. In the previous versions of TaroWorks, they would still read in English, but now with this release, these values are also getting translated. Let's see how that looks on the mobile device. Right. So we are on the mobile device. We make sure that everything is synced to get the latest records from Salesforce. So once that is done, we go to our list of jobs. And we have the contact statuses job here. But before we do that, let's just make sure that this mobile user, the language on their device is set up to French. So I'll go to the device settings and look for language. And I'll change the language from English to French. Okay. So with our language in French, our language on the mobile app in French, we sync and we get everything from Salesforce. And then we can now go to the jobs icon and we can see our job there. So we'll start the new job and then we can view the contacts. So from this list of contacts, we would like to see what is their status. So we'll open one of them. So for this contact here, it's the field active is blank. That's fine. We can go through another contact. We can see now for this one here, the active field is yes in Salesforce, but it has been translated to we. in French, which is in French. So that means that the pick list translation in the workbench is working, and the value has been passed to this mobile user in French. Values that are not translated in the translation workbench, like the contact description, those values will still remain in the language that is in Salesforce, that is English for this record. If we open another contact, we open this one is blank. For this contact here, Howard, the active status is none. So it's also getting translated. If we go back and we select all the contacts and we go next, so we are viewing all these records from one list, then we should see the contact status listed there on the far right column. So those that are blank are null, and those that are yes are we, and those that are no are none. So that is the change that we've brought to the translation in the drill down hierarchy fields. Irani, just checking if we have any questions.
Hi, Daryl. Yes, we have a question from Ariful. Ariful, do you want me to unmute you so you can ask, or I can just start? The question is, are all users are using their mobile phones to use TaroWorks, so why they will use the PIN and the fingerprint security? If any user forgot the PIN, how can he solve it?
Yeah,
I think
thank you. Yeah, thank you for that question. So this would work for organizations that would like to add a layer of security to their data. By default, the PIN setup will be off, so that it will only be optional and an organizational practice if you want to add that layer of security on TaroWorks. Then you would train the users to enable the PIN and also enable the fingerprint. There are organizations that purchase devices for their mobile users in the field, and they ensure that the mobile devices meet a certain criteria, which includes biometrics like fingerprint readers. And then they would like to make sure that these devices are secured, and therefore the jobs that will be on these devices are also secured in the event that the device gets to the wrong hands. These organizations wouldn't want people who are not authorized to access records that the records that have been collected on TaroWorks. So that's where they would train their mobile users to make sure that this security is set up. In the event that the user forgets their PIN, then they will have to sign out to sync their work and sign out and clear the data from the mobile app through the app cache on the app settings, and that will erase all the information on their mobile device, including their PIN. Does that answer the question?
Yes, I think. Yes. Thank you, Daryl.
Thank you. Great. So the next feature that is coming to 7.3.1 is supporting more than 30 characters on the drill down hierarchy display. So in the previous versions of TaroWorks, if the text in the drill down hierarchy screen was too long, more than 30 characters long, then it would be truncated and you would see dots at the end of it. In 7.3.1, there has been an improvement in the drill down section of the TaroWorks mobile app so that we are able to see these values in full. And I'll just go back to our job. I'll have to change this back to English. So I'll go back to our job and open this job, new job. So in the new TaroWorks release 7.3.1, we are now enabling the mobile users to see all the details in the drill down screen. So here we have a long list of names. Some of these names are more than 30 characters long, like the first few couple records, they are more than 30 characters long. For example, if you look at this record here, it seems very long, but it has now been wrapped and it's shown in full. Previously, this would be truncated and we would have dots at the end. So this is now an improved version of TaroWorks and we are able to see all those values in full. If we extend and go to the record itself, we can also see that the value is displayed there in full. There's no cutting the information. Also, we have the contact description, which is a long text, very long text, and all that information is displayed on the screen without truncating. So that is an added improvement on TaroWorks 7.3.1. So this will enable the mobile users to read the full information about our record, and therefore they'll be more informed on the tasks that they're doing. They'll have better understanding of the information that is coming through from Salesforce, unlike before where they couldn't read the full information that was coming through. The next feature that we'll be looking at is we've updated the form so that when the forms are getting updated at the same time by more than one user, then they will get a message that informs them of when the last changes were made. So in the previous versions of TaroWorks, we could only see a message that informed the mobile user that the form was modified by someone else and if they wanted to refresh the form or not. But now we have added the details on when the form was actually modified and the last modified date. So in the demo, we are going to see a form that is updated by different users at the same time. So allow me to log in. Irani, I don't know if we have any questions.
Not for now.
Okay, thank you. So I'll sign in as myself and then I'll open another window and sign in as a different user. So in this setup, we have Darrell working on the screen on the far left, and we have Irani working on the screen on the far right. So we are going to update the same form at the same time. And then Darrell will leave the form before he saves the changes. We'll leave the form and go and attend on something else, while Irani is working on the form at the same time, making different changes, and we will see what the results would be. So we are working on updating the contact status form. So Darrell goes ahead and opens that form to edit it. And the only thing Darrell is changing is, let's say, for example, adding the alias. Okay. So while making that change, Darrell steps away from the workstation. And at the same time, Irani is making a change on this form, let's say hiding a field. So Irani goes ahead, does a refresh, and edits the same form. So Irani makes a change on the field in the same form. So the form is still contact status. And what we are changing here is marking this field as required, question number 4 as required. So we make that change and we save. So Irani saves that form, goes ahead and clicks on save. And then Darrell comes back, right? So Darrell comes back and realizes that I realized that I had not saved the changes on my form. So I go ahead and click on save. If I click on save, I'll be informed that the form was modified by someone else. The actual last modified date was on Wednesday, the 13th of September, and the last modified date, which is now still 13th of September, but a different time. So depending on when you made your change and when, so this last modified date is when you are making the change, and this is when these changes were saved by this other user. So you can tell that your changes will be coming after someone else has worked on the form, and therefore you can say it's okay to refresh the form. If you're not okay to refresh the form at this point, you can click on cancel, review the changes that you are making. If it is, for example, the alias, because if you refresh the form, you will lose the changes that you are making here. So you can just copy that, you copy your alias, and then go ahead and save. And you can now click on refresh and enter your alias again and save. So that way we've enabled the users to be able to know which changes were made while they were away, and do they need to review the changes they are making before they commit those changes. Irani, any questions in the chat?
Not for now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So the other change that is coming in 7.3.1, we are bringing updates to our TaroWorks mobile application, where we are now supporting the latest Salesforce API versions, so that we are able to leverage on the latest Salesforce features and functionality when building our TaroWorks application. So this is just to stay up to date with what's happening on the Salesforce side. As you know TaroWorks and Salesforce work together. The application that we build interacts with Salesforce, and therefore the latest APIs that Salesforce produces, we are able to work with those APIs without any compatibility issues. For the upgrade best practices, we recommend that you read the release notes for 7.3.1 in detail to understand what is coming in this new release and the action that you need to take to prepare on your side. If this is your first TaroWorks upgrade, we recommend that you submit a request through our support site, and we will be able to walk through the upgrade process with you over a call. We also recommend that you schedule the upgrade at a time of low mobile user activity when most users are offline. And usually we request you to make sure that the mobile users have synchronized all of the completed jobs from their mobile devices to Salesforce. And then when they are offline, you can now start the process of the upgrade to the latest TaroWorks release. Remember that you must follow the steps in the TaroWorks 7.3.1 upgrade documentation when performing the upgrade. This will eliminate any possibility of having errors when the mobile users start using the latest version of TaroWorks. We also recommend that you read the upgrade documentation to the letter, which is an added resource. At this point, I'll check with Irani and see if we have questions in the chat.
Thank you so much, Daryl. Yes, we have a question from Mary. This is about the auto clear feature. She's asking if the manual clear from backups and logs is still available in this new version of TaroWorks.
Yeah, thank you, Mary, for that question. In this new TaroWorks version, we still have the possibility of clearing the logs manually. And I'll just go back to the mobile app. So while in the mobile app, when you go to the settings section and you go to logs menu, down on your screen, you'll see clear logs and backups. So this menu here is still available. It's on the change that we've made here is bring together logs and backups so that when you clear them, they are cleared, both cleared together. Otherwise, the feature is still there to manually clear the logs and backups. Does that answer your question, Mary?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Daryl. And we have another question from Ariful. Ariful is asking, they are using 7.1.0 from TaroWorks. When can they update to the latest version?
Thank you, Ariful, for that question. So the TaroWorks 7.3.1 will be released and made available to the public. And once that is available to the public, you'll be notified. You'll get communication via our TaroWorks channels that you can now upgrade to the next version. If you have any questions regarding the upgrade, you can also check through the TaroWorks support and then also check with the customer success manager, and they'll be able to advise further.